Hey there, how are you? I brought some sunshine for you. I didn't think that it's going to be sunny outside today, but here you go. And it started right when I was shooting this video, so that's interesting. So I would say thanks for that. That's great. Now, what we are going to do today is we are going to look into the Pandora box. Meaning, what if we have so many difficult and hard kind of feelings, right? Or emotions, I have to say, that are so deep, 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 very, very deep down. And we are trying to still really push them down, right? We kind of don't want to have them in our field because they scare us, because they have the potential to make us grow into another person, and we feel unsafe to actually go there. This is the topic for today. My name is Patricia. I'm a life coach, and hey, I'm here to help you see your potential. I'm here to help you to let you see what is on the horizon for you. So if you're in for a one-on-one coaching, if this is what you are interested in, then have a look into the description box, because let's be real. Let's make this life a good one, right? With this said, let's dive right into today's video. And I actually also want to give a little bit of a note, okay? And the note goes as follows. If you are in a situation which is very, very much unstable, okay? You don't feel safe. You don't feel well in your skin. I highly, highly recommend, before watching this video, to go actually into some other videos where I show some grounding practices, okay? Please do that before, simply because this is I don't want to create more fear in you. I want you to understand what is it and why is it here, and what can you do for it to transform eventually. And so if you are in this very, just your whole life kind of fell apart, or certain aspects of you are just not working for you anymore, you need to build up some strength before you're doing this step. So I highly recommend you doing that. Anyways, you can always come back because this stays online, right? So, there you go. So now let's dive into today's video. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, then I would so much love to have you as a new subscriber. And also say hi in the comments. Is this something that you can relate? I'm always very curious to hear who are my people here, right? How can I support you best? And it really helps me if you're telling me a little bit of your story, and you're sharing a bit about yourself. So very, very much appreciated to also give this little bit of a boost, this channel, and so other people are getting the possibility, I would say, to really see this one as well. And I think that's really crucial. Okay. The other day, I was actually talking with a friend, and she has been in very difficult situation that I'm not even going into what exactly was, because I want you to stay open and I want you to apply it for yourself. So this is not really about, oh, this other person has it difficult too. This is about looking at the mirror, right? Understanding what is present in your life right now, and how can you actually make this a little bit more into balance, right? We always work on getting the balance in. Okay, so working with the highs and the lows in life, and kind of like finding the balance, right? Because seriously, there is no such thing as I'm always happy or I'm always negative, but we have to find this kind of balance that actually helps us, because there are aspects of the plus and the minus kind of thing that actually help us grow. And so when we see that, when we feel that, it helps to know these aspects, because then we can simply actually dive into it and find some kind of acceptance, and on a non-judgment basis, right? Where we can see, okay, this really helps to just stay in this for a bit, to stay in something that may feel uncomfortable in the beginning, but then actually turns out to be quite good, And so we have to learn how to do that, simply because this is what helps a lot, to just go with life, right? And you can't really always force something. You cannot control everything. So you have to understand how to stand in life without knowing everything, without controlling everything, because it makes you sick. You can't, okay? You can't. If you are a perfectionist, you got to question yourself, why is it that you feel that the need to control? There is a certain aspects of what you're doing, right? But back to the start. So she was saying, well, I know my bullet points. And she started to get really, really heavy, and I could sense it right away, right? And so she was like, what if I dive into those depths and I will never be the same again? What if I open up that box that I feel so deeply and I'm not able to find back home? What if I'm changing completely and I'm scaring the shit out of myself, right? What if? And those are questions I had myself. You see, she was doing the work, and that was why I was saying before, if you haven't done this work until here, you are maybe not even able to see that there is this kind of a darkness, I would say, or this kind of hidden potential, because it actually is. It is hidden potential. Everything that we are not bringing into our awareness is hidden potential, because that is what can ultimately lift us up. And so if we let it in the dark, it's kind of crap, because it's there anyways. So why wouldn't you use it? Why wouldn't you use your pain to do something for you? Why would you use it for something that is just painful, right? Why wouldn't you use it for something that is good for you? And so that needs training. So if you haven't done the process until here, you need to go back and actually start doing that. And it can take a while until you understand what this really means for you, right? What does it mean to really look into your life and look at those steps of why you are at the place you are? And it's so crucial to understand that, because you cannot move further if you haven't understood this part. It's kind of like you need to understand the present moment of why you are here, what has brought you here. And if you're saying, okay, it was this person, it was that person, it was this circumstances, okay, but then what else is there, right? So start to look at it, start to really feel into it. Why are you at this moment, at this time, at this place? Why is that? What is it that you need to see? Is it something that comes again and again and again? Why is it that you keep repeating the same things? It's not only because you have learned a certain behavior. There is something for you that you need to look at. That's why you keep repeating it. That's why. So you gotta look into that. So she has done that work, okay? So she has quite, I would say, quite advanced, while advanced isn't better than, but advanced in a sense of she had this awareness, she had the picture of this is what is going on and this is my next step. But I need your help to actually go through that darkness, to eventually get out of it again. See, the thing is, that's usually when people come to me. Because when they haven't done this work, that's usually when they go to therapy or some kind of other person who helps them to view the hidden aspects, right? All their past. And so when you look at your past and you kind of map it, right? It's kind of like what they're doing is like they prepare you to then come to me. So I help you to open up to your potential, but before that, you need to see that there is always the bag that you already have with you. And I need you to understand what is in that bag. And that's usually what a therapist is doing for me in that sense, right? Because this is not my work. This is the work from a professional, right? Who is doing that in that direction. So what happened then was like she was kind of looking at me, and I could see the fear, I could see what was going on, and she was really she had all this fear, right? So if you are standing at the place where you know your darkness, you know where you stand, you know that there are these hidden aspects that you didn't fully allow yourself to feel, right? That's what it is. She didn't allow herself to feel all that is there because she got scared of her own emotions. What if there is so much anger coming up towards someone you are supposed to love, right? What if I cannot stop myself anymore from that rage I feel inside of me? What if I can't go back to my old self? It's very, very, very simple. At this stage, you never go to your old self. And what you need to realize is that the only reason why you came so far is because you are ready to actually let your old skin die. And you are in the transfer to something new. Okay? This is a kind of a death period. And that's normal that you feel so uncomfortable because it makes you bring out everything that has actually suppressed you. Okay? Everything. And it's hard to go through that because you are going through a transit that you don't know what is on the end of that tunnel. You don't know. And your ego, I have said this in many, many other videos, your ego is trying to protect you, okay? Your ego isn't here for your growth. Your ego is the center here. Oh, you can see it. So on my belly, right? On the solar plexus. And that one is actually trying to save your life, okay? But saving your life doesn't mean you're growing. It doesn't mean it is in your highest good. It just means that it tries to do things for you that are safe, right? That's the whole idea why you are afraid like this. So understanding when to listen to your fear and when to say, it's okay that I'm afraid. It's okay that I have no clue what is on the end of this tunnel because I have done this step all my life actually. You're now just consciously aware of it that this is happening, but you have done it already. So, you are not the same person anymore as you were with 8 years old or 10 years old, 12 years old. You have changed all the single time. The thing is now that you are aware of it, you are afraid because that is what awareness actually brings into your life too. It's like you are getting to a capacity that is unknown for you, right? So when you're opening up that box kind of thing, it's like you're diving into that. And you're feeling that kind of pain or that suffering that you have not been able to see until yet, right? And what happens is that you're trying to let this in to your life, and it scares you because it creates some kind of overwhelm. It creates anxiety and stress. And so this is why it's quite helpful if you are actually getting someone who is doing this work. For example, another coach, or you can contact me. It's easier to do those kind of steps with someone who is working in that field, but you can already start doing this alone. Okay? When I was in this state, what I really, really loved to do is I had to go into kind of a hermit situation where I wouldn't tell anyone what was really going on, because I wanted to figure it out myself first. And not because I didn't trust anyone or whatsoever, but I wanted to get clarity first, so that when I'm sharing, that there might be even something more coming from the outside world on what is going on, right? But if I'm not doing this one or two step and like really putting my focus on what is it that is really, really holding me back to do this step into that darkness, right? Then I'm holding myself kind of limited, because I'm not giving it all. So the work with this is you have to give it all. And sometimes to do that, you actually go a few steps in and then a little bit out again. And then a little bit in and then a little bit out again, because you're too afraid to do it all in once, right? So I'm an Aries, and sometimes this is very useful, sometimes it's not. In cases like this, very helpful, because my sign is very like just crash through the wall, right? I'm not. Yes, I might be scared, and yes, I might be unwilling in the first kind of place to make a change or whatsoever. But then when I see the potential, I will just run, and I will not think too much about the risk. And so that has brought me a lot of times into trouble. But sometimes in cases like this, it's very helpful, because my mind isn't wired the way of all the things that could happen. I'm just doing it, right? So it's an attribute that I'm using to do this work, is to kind of go in. So you have to understand how you work. Do you have to create yourself some kind of safe space before you go into this area of looking into fully who are you, and especially all these, okay, all the things down here in the belly area, pelvis area. Is it tight there, right? Can you feel that there is something, right? I mean, for me, as example, I had so much rage. Like, I wanted to scream. I just wanted to literally to scream on top of a mountain and just let this whole thing just out. It was really, 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 really deep. And many people experience that, okay? So there is also, you have to understand, sometimes it's not only from the way how you grew up, right? It's also what is projected onto us as a woman, for example, on how to be in this world, be the nice girl, right? Show up like this and this. You have to look pretty. Don't get old, right? All those kind of things. Or for men, you have to be the provider. Don't be such a loser. Don't be too emotional. Don't be this. Don't do that. You know, all those rules. And they were projected onto you. And so that's what I felt. I felt this rage of like, I just don't want to be that way. That's not me. I want to show up as me. So that was my darkness, but it's just very the surface of it, right? And And then what happened is when you create this kind of safe space that you may need, right? And listen, it could be as simple as you go for a walk and you walk in nature, okay? And it actually already brings in this kind of nurturing feeling experience, right? It's kind of like you're preparing yourself to hold that space. That's very, very, very important. If you're not able to hold that space, then it just blows up. I mean, then you're more afraid than anything else. I don't recommend that. So what you're really trying to do is to find the stability, right? If you don't know how that works, get someone in, get some help, right? So, but really, this is a easy kind of thing. For me, it's quite normal to do this practice. But if you're not in this field or you haven't really done so, then I would highly recommend to work with someone to just give you a hand. You see, I think I told that in another video where I always try to do everything by myself. And at one point I was like, you know what? There is so much wisdom out there. Why would I try everything by myself? Why would I start this try and error all the time if I don't have to? There are certain aspects in life that you have to do like this, but not in every aspect of your life, you see. So there might be aspects where you're doing this try and error phase, but you can't do it in every single phase of your life. So you need to use tools and other people who have the wisdom that you're looking for. Okay, so you go for a walk, you kind of prepare yourself, right? You prepare yourself to get into this space, get into the position where you're preparing yourself to be open to this really, really intense emotions, right? And we all have it. By the way, this is nothing special in a sense of you're the only one, or your, I don't know, friends and whatsoever, they don't have that. They do. We all have it. Simply because when we are growing up, we are never really able to fully be ourselves. We are going through life with attachment, meaning that we are trying to somehow connect on a certain level with other people. We haven't really learned what it means to be authentic to ourselves, and so we have learned other ways to be around people, and that's why our society is kind of sometimes a bit weird. To, you start to talk with people and you're like, I already know that what you're saying is total crap. Like, I mean, why would you say something like this that's so obvious that it's not the truth, right? Well, because we haven't learned to really stand in our truth, and sometimes we think it looks better or it feels better if we are not totally saying the truth. And to be honest, sometimes not saying the truth all the way along, because it may hurt other people, and then to just say something a little bit, to not put it so harshly on their table, has also its point, right? So there is the thing when you're speaking up and when you're saying your truth and when you're actually not fully expressing what you think, because being yourself doesn't mean that you just speak out what you think. It means that you're talking your soul truth, and your soul truth will never actually be in the I'm going to hurt you. That's not the intention. It is the I'm trying my very best to bring love to your table. That's basically it. So when you start to understand that you are coming from a place, your essence is coming from a place of love and not fear and not anger and nothing of that, right? Then you start to see that, okay, maybe I have started this conversation a bit in another direction. So when you're creating space, and as I said, you can do this in quite different ways, right? You can go and do this for a walk. Works for me really, really well. There are people who do yoga, for example. There are people who go for slow yoga, right? It's not like, don't go for hot yoga whatsoever. What you want to create is coming back home here. Start to be more present. That's what you're ultimately trying to do at this very moment. And so when you start creating that, the preparation kind of thing for your inner stillness, you can start to open up that emotion, right? You can start to open up that lid, because ultimately what will happen is going through that darkness and facing all of that, that is actually helping you to then unlock what is hidden for you as potential. That potential will not be here and will not show up unless you're going through this. This is why so many people are kind of working on their potential, but I'm like, yeah, but you don't see that your darkness is the potential in itself. You have to face it. It's not a let's find another back door. There is no back door. You have to go through it, and you have to embrace it, and you have to start to see that certain aspects that have been painful for you, you have to start loving them. You have to start seeing all of it, all aspects, right? You have to invite it in your life, and that's why so many people are afraid. That's why my friend was so afraid. What if I invite all of that anger in, and then that anger is going to stay? The thing is, and that's something you need to understand too, is that when we are inviting that kind of emotion, right, and we are inviting everything from above and below, nothing is always, there is always this is temporary. The way how you feel is temporary, okay? It comes in and it goes, and it comes in and it goes, and you have to go with that flow. You have to realize that there are certain aspects in your life that may be really heavy, and then there are other aspects that are very light, and so it's a kind of a mix, and you have to flow with that and use that kind of emotion so that you can go to your full potential, right? And if you're not using your emotions because you're afraid of it, because you don't want to face it, it's a big piece that you're missing. And so you will stay in the past, and you will relive what you don't really want to. You will start to do things that you don't want to do, but you feel like you're locked. You're only locked because you're not allowing yourself to fully feel, or only to a certain extent. And that's the issue with many people, that they feel stuck in family dynamics, in friendship dynamics, right? Having all the time the same kind of work, meeting the same people. They feel stuck because they are not seeing their truth. And your truth is really actually very personal, and it might not be the truth. Well, actually, it's never the truth of anyone else, really. Because the way how you are heard may be for someone else totally nonsense, right? And you're even afraid of that. You're afraid that you would open up and you would share that. And what would people say? We're so afraid of judgment. And it's not only you, it's in the whole society that we don't like to be judged. And what is judgment? Judgment is actually just a feedback from the outside. And generally speaking, it's something that they don't like about themselves. So it goes back to themselves. So many things that we are saying goes back to ourselves. All my videos I'm doing here, most of them, if not all, go back to myself, to my own story. I'm sharing here what has helped me personally, and then what I have revealed for other people, right? And so you have to see how that is actually connected. And that's so exciting because it means that when everything is connected that way, you can actually make a really, really huge shift, right? You can make this so juicy for yourself, right? You can make it really juicy. So when you are in this spot of you can hold space, we are always going back and forth, sorry. I have to sometimes go a bit into these directions, okay? Then you can hold space and you're ready, okay? What happens then is you can go really simple. I love simple because simple means you're not creating this, I don't know, huge thing to really feel yourself. I believe the less the better, the more you're allowing yourself to be just this. This is enough, right? This is your tool. This is your toolbox, right? And you need to see what you can do with just this, because you don't always have, I don't know, your journal ready or something else. You need something that you always have with you. And hey, this is always with you. I mean, not if you're dreaming, but generally speaking, this is with you. So use it. Use it. What you're going to do is, and this is really just an example, you can do it as you want. What I do is I take a candle. Color doesn't really matter. I mean, for me it doesn't. Use a candle, sit down, and I generally prefer the floor. So I'm not sitting on a chair, I'm actually sitting on the floor because I want that whole energy to come up until here, until I can open, okay? And I open the space up to feel, to allow it in, to understand myself. That's ultimately why you're doing this, right? It's to feel your own pain because no one else can feel what you feel, okay? Not in that extent. So what you're doing is really you're creating that space and you're sitting on the floor, for example, and you visualize how you're taking all these emotions up, and then you just feel. And now what happens here at this moment is you may want to scream, you may cry, maybe you start shaking, your body's reacting and your body's allowing yourself to feel and is ready to release. Your body's helping you to release those stuck emotions, because those emotions, they are here regardless if you're allowing it into your heart or not. What is important is that you see that you are creating this loving space and acceptance, right? You accept yourself for it. And so what I really love is this Ho'oponopono prayer. I really love this one. And it goes something like, and I'm not sure if I'm saying it in the right direction now. It's something like, so you have this emotion that comes up, right? And it's very hard. And then you say something like, I love you, I forgive you, I'm sorry, thank you. And you keep repeating that and feeling into that emotion. And you may do this for 5 minutes straight, just feeling into it, feeling it all, and allowing your body to process and to let go, right? To let it out. You let it out. That's really what you do. You let it out, and you can feel how everything is moving. Now, we talked in the beginning about potential, right? And so when you're done with this process, and it might take a while, okay? It might take a half an hour, or it might, depending on how fast you are. Maybe it takes 1 hour, maybe it takes 2 hours, whatsoever. Do it when you have time to really be with yourself, because I feel like that's the most important thing, to just stay with yourself, and whatever comes up is okay, right? It's okay that it comes up, and you just feel it. Just feel it all and just do this practice. And so what then happens is you have space, right? Because after doing this a few times, you create space. And so here is where the interesting parts come in. You collect the pieces that are helping you from that standpoint you once were into your new self. It's kind of like you're leveling up the game, and now you're like, okay, what is my prize? You see, what is my prize? And I don't mean in a sense of I do this and then I get this. And most often that prize looks a bit different than what you think. Okay? It's not necessarily something that you expected. It's not necessarily something that you wanted from, because, and here again, the ego comes in, right? Well, if it's not a car, I don't want it. If it's not an apartment, I don't want it. You know, maybe it's you have a materialistic idea on how that looks like, while this is really about giving you a boost into something bigger, into something higher. Okay. So I think we talked enough for today. There is so much more I would love to add, but I feel like if I would go on, then I would never stop. So, I have to keep it a little bit into a juicy spot. Yes. So if you want to know more about this, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you have done this process. I would be very, very, it would be very nice to hear how you have done, how it is going for you. And with this said, thanks so much. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always showing up and being here. It's an honor to do those videos, and I really enjoy, and I love to see other people happy, see you happy, making some progress, and diving into the life that you really want to go. And so I'm very, very thankful, and I wish you a very awesome day. Don't forget to smile today. Don't forget to look at things that are actually working pretty good in your life, right? We tend to only look at those things that don't go really well, but look at both. Look at both, because there is a lot of things that you may not see. Okay? With this said, thank you so much. Speak soon. Bye-bye.